we're going to get started. Let me plug this in real quick. If you weren't here yesterday, we are changing up the way we're doing quarterly trainings because I do feel like we might be reaching the pinnacle of absorption of what we're talking about. So we're in here every Tuesday and Thursday talking about different things. It's hard to keep up with all the stuff that we're talking about. So we're changing it up. We're going to go Tuesday training, Thursday workshop. The Thursday workshop is going to be talking about what we talked about on Tuesday. How can we implement that into our business? So exposing you ideas on Tuesday, implementing those ideas on Thursday. We're going to condense this time, 30 minutes max. So I'm going to go ahead and start my timer because I want to be efficient. That way we can get back to the ground running and doing what we need to do. So appreciate y'all being here. The title of today's session is Hit the Ground Running. We know it's a new year. 2025 is here. This is the first full week of 2025. If you're anything like me, I'm just glad to be back into a routine, honestly. I just get completely, my thoughts aren't there. I'm not feeling right. I'm not eating good. I'm not sleeping correctly. I'm not working out the same, and so I just get out of habit. Tate, you're probably the same way. But once we can get back into habit, the sooner we can get there, obviously the better it is for me, the better it will be for our business. But I hope everyone had a great holiday. I think it's good that we work our tails off, and we need to celebrate our tails off when we're not in the business as well. So rest to work, not work to rest. If you can kind of adapt that mentality, I think you're going to have a much more fruitful business because you're rested to be able to work versus running yourself into the ground to then take some breaks. So the holiday slump is real. We've talked about this. I put on here, I know firsthand. My first year in business was 2017. I had a good start to the year. I started in June, I think. I had some sales. December, I thought I had everything figured out. Let out the gas pedal. Went 60 days without a check. Pretty dark spot, right? And so there's where the creep comes in on, oh man, am I in the right business? Did I make a mistake? What's going on? But all I need to do is really look at myself and figure out, what are you doing, Alex? Extreme ownership. Take pride in what you do and then start doing it so you can get those results. So I had a coach tell me one time, what's the difference between a rut and a grave? Does anybody want to take a stab at that?
Grave, you're dead.
Okay, grave, you're dead, yeah. Cool, yeah. So it's how long you stay there, right? A rut you can get back out of, and a grave you're going to be there for quite some time. And I felt like I was almost at that grave back in 2017, quarter four. But the good thing is we can get out of ruts, and that's what we did. That's what I did. That's what my coach helped me to do. And we were able to come out of there. So if you feel like you've been in kind of a slump or things have been kind of in a funk for you, your routine's out of whack, that's okay. It's understandable, but we got to make sure that we're proactive to getting back on the track. So the secret to getting ahead is getting started. We're going to be going over 6 different ways to get your business back on track. But why is it so important for us to get back on track? Because 80%, 20%, 20% of the business, 20% of the activities that we do generates about 80% of our business. And so if we're neglecting those things that we need to be doing, we can expect our business to not be where we would like for it to be. We also have to think about momentum. In the first few days, I know it's going to feel like we're out of sync, like we're learning a new language, just trying to get back into the rhythm. But consistency wins. Even small victories, small wins here and there will add up over time, and you got to make sure you're keeping that momentum. I put moving a vehicle in here. Has anybody ever ran out of gas before? Vanessa, Adam, cool. Did you try to have to push your vehicle somewhere? Yeah.
No, I'm a girl.
Yeah, you called somebody. Hey, Adam, come here.
Actually, somebody just randomly came in and saved me.
Oh, nice. I've had to push, I haven't ran out of gas, but I have helped someone who's ran out of gas. And pushing a stopped vehicle is much harder than pushing a vehicle that's in motion, right? Everybody understands that. I actually looked this up. It's about 4 times as hard if you look at the force equation to get something started that's not moving versus keeping something moving that's already in motion. So in terms of our business, it might feel like we're having to put a lot of energy and effort and strength into getting our business started up again. But once you get that started, once you get the momentum going, make sure that you keep it going no matter what. Even if it's making 2 calls in a day, that's much better than 0 because then now you're having to mentally train yourself to restart. And that's going to take a lot of energy, time, and effort. So just making sure that you're getting back in there. The momentum factor, obviously little wins can add up over the course of the year. So back to action. I put 6 things on here that can be helpful for us to be able to get back on our tracks and get our business back in motion. Time blocking, recommitting to our why, prospecting, which is obviously the non-negotiable, setting a 30-day plan, the daily 3 method, and then reconnecting. We're going to go over those really briefly. We have questions. Obviously, we can save those to the end, but make sure that you're mentally thinking about which one you want to implement into your book of business because that's what we're going to be talking about on Thursday. So the first one is time blocking. I had 4 one-on-ones yesterday, and every one-on-one we talked about time blocking and the importance of that. And so who in here time blocks right now? Adam,
I tried to.
Somewhat.
Tate, Vanessa. What's up, Tracy? Your version? Time blocking is so important because of the matrix, the Eisenhower matrix that we've seen. Everything that we come across as humans, we typically put into the urgent and important category, which means that we're always task switching. If you can time block and batch your activities, you're going to become more successful. So what we were talking about yesterday in our one-on-ones, even if you can just time block 1 hour of time per day, I asked all of the agents, I said, how many phone calls can you get in a 1 hour time period? And the average answer was about 50 phone calls. So if you just uninterrupted time, head down inside of Follow Up Boss, making as many calls as possible, you're going to have about 50. Some people said higher, some people said a little bit lower, but I'm just going to say the average is 50. If you can do 50 phone calls a day, that's going to equal up to be about $8.2 million worth of volume. So now we know the equation. We just have to time block and be disciplined enough to be able to execute that daily. The reason I say 8.2, so you have a 10% answer rate. So if you make 50 calls per day, 5 days a week, times 12 months, that's 12,000 phone calls. If you get 10% of those people to answer, that's 1,200 answers. 10% of those people might be interested. That's 120 opportunities, and you get 25 of those to a closing table. Okay, that's 30 opportunities. 30 opportunities times our average price point of $275. That's a cool $8.2 million. Okay, how many here sold over $8 million last year? I think you did, yeah. Cool. So now we know the equation. All we have to do is be diligent with our time blocking in order to be able to get those results. Okay, so time blocking, making sure that you're hopefully doing that in the morning, on the afternoon. And if you can do the time blocking in the morning, you're gonna get the hardest thing out of your way, which will make your afternoon a little bit easier and hopefully more enjoyable. Consistency, obviously key with that. Morning routines, as far as business goes, career-wise, what's your morning routine look like, Tate?
Like waking up.
No, not, yeah, just until you get here, yeah. Once you get here, what does your routine look like?
Well, I mean, if we're not having these meetings, I usually go straight in and start making phone calls.
Okay, phone calls first thing in the morning. Cool. Anybody else? Phone calls first thing, get them out of the way?
I try to look at that.
Okay, yeah.
Things like that first.
Okay. Cool. So prime your head with some knowledge and then make the phone calls. Cool. Same for you, Michelle?
MLS, looking at new listings and stuff like that.
Perfect. I love it. So time blocking. If you haven't time blocked, it's pretty easy. I mean, what I used to do is I would set an alarm on my phone, and I would not do anything. I'd turn my phone on to airplane mode because unless it's an absolute dire emergency, the phone call can wait. And if something's happening, heaven forbid, then my wife can probably get a hold of anybody else that works here if it was a fire, right? And so you time block for, let's say 9 to 10, you set your phone on airplane mode, you put your head down, you go to work, and you're going to be amazed at how much stuff you can get done in that 1 hour time. I know we were pushed to be work from home during COVID. Some of y'all remember that. The first 2 days, it was awesome because you were at home, you were with your family. Then it became, oh my goodness, I can't get anything done because these kids are pulling me this way and that way, and there's a couch and there's a TV. I set up a table inside of our master closet, and I could get done in 2 hours what I could probably get done in a typical time because I had no distractions and I could put my head down and work. So try that out if you haven't tried it. Next up, we have recommitting to our why. I know in late November we all did our vision boards and our whys were surrounded with that. We just did the business planning and we talked about our why quite a bit there. It's easy to just put those up on your walls and kind of forget about the reasons why you put those things on the vision board and what ignited your passion to just think creatively on that for a bigger life for you. So align your goals with your core purpose. When your purpose is powerful, the pain becomes irrelevant. Just a quick question. Who's willing to run into a house that's on fire?
What's in there?
Nobody, right? Nobody right now. All right, now, Vanessa, your kid's in there. Are you going?
Yes.
No question. Like significant others, pets, like depending on what's driving your why is going to help you figure out how to do that. And so when the purpose, getting my kids out of the house that's on fire, is more powerful than the pain, I'm going in there regardless. But if the house is just on fire, obviously I'm not doing that. So we've got to think about that. I know it's an extreme example, but how are we doing that with our book of business? Are we thinking about the purpose behind our phone calls, the purpose behind our follow-ups, the purpose behind doing the things that we don't like to do, but we have to do, so we can then enjoy a life that we don't maybe have right now. And so be thinking about that, whatever your why is. I was curious, does anybody want to share, maybe two people, on what your why is? Vanessa, I feel like I know what yours is. The kiddos? Mm-hmm. Yep. Who else? Olive? When you have kids, it's a pretty easy why. Anybody else without kids have a why?
I mean, mine was me last year.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like I made that a point to, like, if you don't, whatever the saying is, like, you don't water yourself, you can't water anything else.
Perfect.
When you're on the plane, you know
the mask.
You gotta put your mask on first, or you're no help to anybody.
I like it, dude. Good analogy. You gotta fill your bucket before you can pour into others. Cool. If you don't know what your why is, I would really, really, really encourage you to identify what that is, because it can be life-changing. Once you, like, if I'm in my office and I'm not having a good day and, oh man, nobody's answering my phone calls, these meetings are not going how I want them to, that we're not trending how we need to, all I really need to do is look up on the wall, see the kids, get your act together, Alex. Like, you can control a lot of this and figure out how you can implement that into your daily life. Next up, prospecting. This is obviously the non-negotiable. I put on here, prospecting is the lifeblood of real estate. We are a contact sport. If you're not making contacts in this career, you're going to be having a losing record. That's pretty simple. If you want to have a winning record, you need to talk to as many people as possible. So, it doesn't matter if you're going to Starbucks, if you're at a football game, if you're like inside a Fall Balls, be thinking about how you can always cultivate business, because you never know when people are looking to buy or sell real estate. And the more people that know about you being a real estate agent, the easier your life becomes. So if you slacked off, it's time to get back on the train, get back on the phone, set up some open houses, and get back to work. Does anybody have I'm from the business planning, does anybody have a new goal for 25 on how many attempts you're going to be having per day to be able to hit your goal? 50? We did ours yesterday. What was it?
Attempts per day?
Yeah.
I think it was 20.
20? Cool. Steven, what was yours?
Around 20.
Cool. Sweet. So now we know the equation. We just got to start chopping away at it. Grant, did you do yours?
Yeah, I had 22.
22? Awesome. Tony says this a lot. How do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. Getting to 4 million, 8 million, whatever it is by doing 22 calls a day, 40 calls a day, whatever that equation equals out to. But if you can do that consistently, you're going to be able to get there. Setting a 30-day plan. So kind of going back to that parked car thing, if we don't take initiative to start doing things in our business, that parked car is never going to get in motion, right? And we're going to be thinking, oh man, this really stinks come February, when we don't have anything in our pendings, nothing in our pipeline, and nothing to show for all the time that we've shown up to the office. You can show up to the office and not put in work and be disappointed with your career. So while you're here, you might as well be putting in the work. So create a 30-day plan with specific goals and measurements around that. 30 days is a lot easier to manage than a 12-month plan. So if you take a 12-month plan, most likely people aren't going to completely fulfill that, because it is such a lengthy plan. But if you can chop that up in a 30-day plan, execute something you want to change in your business for these next 30 days, then you're going to be able to be more executable on that, and you can compound that in February when you change up and make another 30-day plan. So, just imagine how different your business would look if you executed 22 phone calls a day, 40 phone calls a day over this next month. I'm going to imagine, almost guarantee, that you will have business in February, right? So it's all dependent upon what you're willing to do. The Daily 3 method, this is something that I personally do. It's helped me tremendously. I actually sleep with a notepad beside my bed, because I just think of weird things when I'm trying to fall asleep, so I'll jot them down to get them off my mind so I can hopefully sleep better. But then I'll take the things that I need to get done the following day, or today for example, and I'll put them on my phone to be able to be executable. Now I know that if I get these 3 things done and I leave the office, that I've won for the day. If I help Tate with his business planning, and then Vanessa has a repair request, and then Riley has a contingency thing that's going on, and I'm able to help all them, but I don't get what Alex needs to get done, I'm still counting that as a loss. Okay, I was able to help people, which is great, but in terms of moving my business forward, or the things that I need to be working on, if I'm not able to do that on a daily basis, then I can't call that a win. So it's hard to know if you're winning or losing if you're not writing down what you need to get done. So figure out what your 2 to 3 things have to get done every single day. Write them down. check them off. Once you check them off, you can hold your head high and know that you have a win for that day. Does anybody do this? No? Michelle? 3, 4, 5? How many do you do?
Like 5.
5? Cool. Are they all business related? Do you do life too?
They're business.
Business? Okay, cool. Sweet. So yeah, what are your 3 high impact tasks that you can do every day that'll move your business forward? This can compound with the 30-day plan as well. So if you do 3 things every day for 30 days, what would you look like? Next up, Reconnect Blitz. Now is a perfect time if you haven't been touching your sphere of influence, your past clients. I mean, we have a perfect opportunity to reconnect with them. The new year's here. It's a simple message. Hey, Jeremiah, I hope you're doing well. Happy New Year, man. Hope you're off to a great start. Just want to let you know and remind you I'm in real estate. If you happen to need anything, feel free to give me a call. And you can blast that out in Follow Up Boss. We can set a template. We just talked about this yesterday. Set a template, click insert send, click insert send, click insert send, and it'll change the name to them. So if you need help with creating a template, you can tailor the template to say it's like %_first_name %, and it'll say, hey Grant, I send, hey Jeremiah, hey Riley, and so it feels tailored when you're receiving it. But a way to be able to do that, create your list, set your daily outreach for the next 2 to 4 days, and then on day 5, review your results, and then think about what you're going to be doing in February as well. We talked a lot about sphere of influence yesterday, Tate, and going deep with them. Doing this type of stuff will help with that, because once you reach out to them and you actually need business, it's not going to be as sticky or weird or awkward when you reach out to them just randomly in June. If you've reached them out in January, February, March, April, May, the more touches you have, the easier it will be to be able to break through and get their business. Overcoming obstacles. I think a lot of people, this was me. I mean, I didn't want to start the new year off because I was a procrastinator. I'm probably one of the worst procrastinators that I know. Unless I have a deadline, I'm not moving on it. I was like this in high school. I was like this in grad school. I would wait until the last minute to do it, which obviously creates a lot of stress for me. But that's how I perform. I feel like I perform better when I know that there's a deadline. So procrastination, if you can set a timer for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, now you know you have the deadline. So you're creating that deadline for you in order to be able to pull some of that energy and focus out of you. So everyone probably in this room deals with procrastination. I'm not for sure how you deal with it, but for me, I like to set timers to be able to put a deadline on it. Fear of rejection, that's part of the business. We know that we're going to get told no quite a bit. And the more no's we get, the better chances we get into a yes. I know Kate at the business planning, and we can do this activity, she figured out how much dollars you make per no. And so then it's not just a no, it's like, oh cool, I just made $23 because I heard no. Oh, I just made another $42 because I heard no. And if you can do that, then your fear of rejection hopefully becomes less, because you know that you're getting closer to a yes to get paid. And then dealing with the post-holiday mindset, the quicker you can get out of that, the better for you. Morning routine, change that up. If you work out, if you journal, meditate, prayer, whatever it is, just get back into the routine in some form or fashion so you can start focusing on your business to get some results. So I wanted to challenge you with 2 things. I want you to identify which tactic or plan that you want to implement into your business. We went over 6. And then I want you to find an accountability partner. It can be inside this room. It can be a spouse at home. It can be a friend. But I want you to find an accountability partner that's going to hold you to those tactics, to those strategies for at least 1 month, okay? And so that's going to be able to help get us our focus back. It's going to help us to be able to get some production under our belt. It's going to help us to be able to grow our business. So think about what those are and then find an accountability partner. On Thursday, we are going to review whatever they are. We're going to review our 30-day plan together. We're going to review our main 3. We're going to review whatever your Reconnect Blitz looks like. You only have to do 1 though, and then we'll get some feedback on what you feel like can work, and maybe a strategy or tactic that's worked for you that we haven't gone over today that you're going to commit to moving forward, and then we're going to go over some accountability stuff. 18 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Grant, you're taking some notes. You got any questions? No? All right, cool. Well, hopefully this was helpful. Like I said, we're going to be super condensed on Tuesday. Thursday, we're going to go over more details on how to make this stuff come to life so we can have it inside of our business. But between now and Thursday, be thinking about which one of these 6 methods you plan on putting into your business.